Morning all, welcome to another awesome episode of Stay at Home Safaris with Savanna Lodge. Already started out this morning and got something different going on already. You can see behind me all the sort of mist is set in and almost eerie like heading out. Sort of can't see 10-20 meters out in front of you, but I'm sure as you can see it sort of adds to that nice fresh early morning feel. And we were lucky enough to have an awesome day yesterday. Went out with Ali and Greg and we had two leopards with a bit of interaction, and we also had that Mangeni pride that was still around. So a couple of things to follow up on this morning, and let's hope we get lucky. I'm sure there'll be a few other bits and pieces that we can get entertained with on the way. So let's crack on, see what the day brings. So just come across this old buffalo skull here. It's certainly not a fresh kill. If memory serves me right, it was probably about 2 years ago the lions actually killed this buffalo in this area. But what's awesome about it is it's pretty much the only thing that remains after a kill. Sometimes as quick as 4 or 5 days it's absolutely been carried off, decomposed, and you come to the sort of crime scene, as I call it, and there's absolutely nothing to show that anything has happened there. If we can get onto this, but you can kind of see here how a horn is fused onto the skull. So that's probably your main difference between a horn and an antler. An antler's not quite bone, it's not quite fused on like this is. You can see parts of the horn actually makes up the top of the skull. But what I really wanted to show you guys is how this outer keratinized sheath over here, it's pretty much made up of proteins, the same material as like a horse's hoof. This sheath can actually slide off here and it will just be that bony core in the middle there, and even this keratin is actually being decomposed away right now. Nothing gets wasted, nothing gets left behind. This is actually a horn moth that's been sort of laying its eggs on here, and the larvae is eaten away into this keratin, and that's eventually going to decompose that right away. There's also been scars of a hyena probably gnawing away at the skull there, also slowly breaking it down. But just pretty cool to see how absolutely nothing gets wasted out here. Sure, what a start to the day. Just cruising along, just actually finished showing you guys that buffalo skull there and bumped into this guy. So often safari doesn't go the way you've planned, and talking about that awesome day that the guys had yesterday, I was just so hoping that we could just continue on with that story with Tamba and Day One having that bit of interaction between each other. And as luck would have it, it does look like Tamba's still showing bits of interest in terms of looking for a scent, but no scarring, no signs of a fight or anything around his face, on the rest of his body there. So possibly no actual confrontation last night between the two, but still just happy that we got to kind of close the story off, because I'm sure, as you can agree, that was pretty exciting stuff last night to see the two leopards so close together like that. Slowly watch him disappear into some thick stuff there. I don't think I'm going to go charging through there. We'll let him carry on with his morning. Not a bad animal to bump into for your first one for the day. So the nice thing about having all this moisture, all this mist in the air, is you can actually pick out and see all the spider webs that you don't normally see in the normal morning light. And just as we're driving along, just starting to see all the sort of bark web, the bark spiders, the orb web spiders over here, hammock spiders. Just thought I'd stop and show you this awesome bark spider's web here before he packs it up, because what he's going to do is he's actually going to dismantle that web. He's going to pack it up during the daytime and actually consume it. So he'll eat that web, fold it up, and eat all the little bugs that's been caught in that through the night. So one of the reasons he probably packs it up is, as you can see, he's strewn it across an open gap here, and without a doubt some animals, elephants, buffalo or whatnot, are going to walk through here and break up that web. So he lays it out at night, puts a main cordon wire across there, and he'll actually leave that wire, so he doesn't have to construct the whole thing completely again, kind of leave the sort of scaffolding, if you can say that, and then sometime in the evening he'll actually reconstruct it again and get his plan for the evening. He's a bark spider because when he does pack up the web, he's going to go sit on a tree on the side like this. He's going to kind of fold his body in, as you can see there, legs tucked in, and camouflage himself, conceal himself up against a tree, and actually just blends in with that bark. So that's why he's aptly named a bark spider. Getting close to where we saw the lions and come across two hooded vultures here, just perched, drying their wings out, getting a bit of the morning sun on them, and waiting for those thermals, no doubt, and then they can obviously head up and start soaring around for some food. So second cool sighting of the day, where got the Mangaean pride on our property. Haven't moved too far from last night, not far at all actually, but always a pleasure to come across the pride in the morning light. A couple of vultures just flew off, probably those same ones we saw sunning their wings earlier, but they've just taken off, and that's what's got their heads lifted, got their ears pricked up. Perfect, so that's the movement we were hoping for. Looks like the rest of the pride's going to maybe just make their way into a bit of shade. That other females just settle down to the left of us here. Little bit of allo grooming going on. Obviously, besides getting a clean and a nice scratch, it also increases that social bond and that sort of bumping of the heads that you see as well. It's probably similar to a hug or a high five or a little touch, and again something to just increase that social bond. And you often see it when there's a bit of movement, a bit of activity like that, just reassuring that connection. So head's getting heavy, the cloud's starting to burn off a bit, and they found their shady spot, they've found their comfy place for the day. So I think that's going to be it for the movements for the Mangeni Pride for this morning. So never a bad idea to stop at a prominent watering hole like this. This one always seems to hold water quite nicely, and I don't know if you can see, there's a couple of hippos bobbing around at the back over there, and we've also managed to spot a croc on the other side of the dam over here, also basking in the sun. And yeah, never a bad idea to get the binoculars out and turn the engine off and see what birds are coming down for a bit of a bathe, for a bit of a drink, and of course hoping for something to appear and make its way down to the watering hole. So I've just come up to the river here, up to the northern part of the reserve, and we've had a special request from one of our viewers, Lindsay Thompson, and her daughter Olivia, who's 6 years old. And Olivia's favorite animal is a giraffe. So I've come into a bit of a giraffe hotspot here. Giraffes really enjoy acacia trees. Acacia tree is this one on my left over here, and it's basically the trees with the thorns on, and that's giraffe's favorite tree. So often we get lucky up here in this acacia woodland, as we call it. So let's try and hunt down a few giraffe for Olivia. Here we go, Olivia. So also one of my favorite animals to see. Almost surrounded by a giraffe there at one stage, and these are all males. So a bachelor group or a bachelor herd, as we'd call it, or a herd of giraffe, as I think Greg mentioned the other day. It's a journey of giraffe, a collective term, collective name for a group of giraffe is a journey of giraffe. So awesome little journey there. So pretty cool morning so far, and no safari, as we know, would ever be complete without a good old marula coffee in the morning. So I pulled up to the river, awesome spot, and cheers to those that are watching and can't join us. Cheers to you, and enjoy a marula coffee. moderate carry on from this morning, and the plan was to just head out for a short bumble and try and get a nice sunset. And in true Sabi Sands fashion, we bumped into another male leopard here. We're going to try and get a closer look. We're thinking it's the tortoise pan male. We actually saw some warthogs in the clearing which caught our attention, and we stopped to have a look at the warthogs, and then the leopard poked his head up, and it seems as if he's on their scent now, trying to figure out where they went. We'll give him a bit of space here and see if he can find those warthogs again. So lucky enough to get a closer look, and it's not actually the tortoise pan male, it is actually Tumba. So he sort of made a half effort at trotting after that warthog, and didn't seem to get lucky that time, and we've got lucky with him coming out on the road here again, and it looks like he's cruising along, doing a bit of scent marking, a bit of patrolling. So many of these animals use these termite mounds as a bit of elevation, a bit of a vantage point, predators in particular. And he's got himself propped up there. He's got an awesome view over the clearings out in front of him, and a little bit frustrating for us because there's obviously a bit of grass in the way there, but perfect for him. He's still concealing himself, he's got cover, and he's also in a bit of shade there, so all three boxes ticked, and putting himself in line for possible hunting opportunity. Right, so it looks like Tumba's settled in there on the mound. We're going to crack on with our plan, which was to try get an awesome sunset, maybe a bit of hippo activity in one of the pans, and we'll see how we go. One of the best times to sit around these watering holes is at sunset, is at sundown. And it's when these hippos start getting a little bit restless, starting to get a little bit active. They've probably been bobbing around, snoozing all day, keeping cool, keeping that skin under the water. And once that sun goes down, once it gets cooler, they start that famous yawning action that everyone's dying to get a picture of, everyone's dying to get a shot of. And that's what we're going to hope for, that we get a bit of activity from this guy. And then of course he's going to come out and start his evening shift and head down, and as you can see, plenty grazing opportunity around here, and that's what he's going to be after in the cool of the night. Perfect sundowner, perfect end to the day. Cheers to all of you guys. We'll see you next time.